J Mar says New York radio is god awful. Well,
I
that's
mean,
sad to
radio
hear.
god awful though.
Huh?
Radio is just god
It
awful though.
doesn't have to be though. You know what I mean? Like, let's just say hypothetically.
Hmm.
Let's just say you got like a Stretch and Armstrong type situation going on where you got a college radio station that's operating out of Columbia University that got reach. They got a
Hmm.
lot of hip hop records they could play in today's time. You could really just have like a straight up 2 hour block of just some real dope hip hop shit that just came out in 2022. I mean, we see the Spotify playlist that you put together, playlist that you put together. So I'm plugging that. Imagine if you had like a set, like a 2 hour block where you were just playing whatever that was the dopest shit this year.
Oh, who like us? Aren't we about to do that too?
I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't say we were about to do. I mean,
No.
it could happen. You know what I
No,
mean?
I
But
mean,
I don't
I
know
mean,
if
to
people
be
will
honest with
listen
you,
though. But.
I mean, to be honest with you, I know you and I talked about this, and thanks for plugging our Spotify channel where I'll be putting the playlist up at. But that's actually the reason why I do the playlist, Mike, is because the radio sucks. And sometimes I get in these zones or these spaces or these conversations, and I'm like, man, I can give you an hour or 2 hours worth of good music, just like, I can give you a quick 15, 20, 25 songs, like boom, boom, bam. I'm actually working on two separate playlists right now to kind of plug it. It's like, been having a lot of Prodigy talk lately, which I love.
Yeah, and so you know what? Radio has created that narrative that ain't no dope hip hop out right now. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Well, I mean,
And that's because of radio. People who say that kind of stuff listen to the radio.
well, hold on. I want to pull up our Spotify channel right quick because I'm working on two playlists and they're based on conversations we haven't. I'm working on a greatest songs from soundtracks playlist for our
Okay.
Spotify page. That's hard. And that's going to be longer. That's actually probably going to be more like that's going to be the longest song player on there. That's probably going to be like 35 to 40 songs when I get done with
What
it.
do you think is the greatest hip hop song on a movie soundtrack? Is it Regulate?
It can be Regulate. I mean, keep in mind, Know the Ledge is off of Juice.
Yeah.
What else was I? Hold on, let me go.
Benz or Beamer comes to mind for me.
I
I
got
know.
Benzo Beamer. That I think that's personal. Summertime in the LBC.
Oh, that's a good one.
Dub Shack.
Everyday Thing by Bone.
Everything. The Afro Puffs on Above the Rim.
That is on Above the Rim. Yeah.
Pour Out a Little Liquor is on Above the Rim.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there's stuff everywhere. And so
Do you count the show as a soundtrack?
the show is a soundtrack. It
You
is.
know, I'm gonna keep it real. It's tough to beat How High. Method
I was
Man and
actually-
Redman on How High, I think it's one of the more, I don't want to say overlooked, but you know what I mean? It's like,
It's
that
not
song is
overlooked.
epic.
It might be the best rap duet ever. So I don't think it's overlooked at all. Isn't that
They created
song
the
in
group,
conversation?
I would imagine.
I mean, isn't that song in conversation for like literally greatest like pairing ever on one song? Just like coming together, like, cause think about it, that's the first time they came together. It's like that's what you did the first time you came together.
First time y'all ever came together, y'all made this.
I mean, that lyrically and style wise was a game changer.
That was one of those songs I heard as a kid where I was like, yo, this shit is
So
amazing.
I think if we're talking like on some on just like on some straight up hip hop talk, I think like How High and Know the Ledge kind of pushed themselves further to the front because of the MCs and the quality of MCing and the importance of the artist. But that's why I brought up Summertime in the LBC and you brought up Regulate. Well, you can't take away from those bangers where it's like where people was playing that record all summer.
Right.
You remember
Chris is asleep.
Dub Shack?
That was a great record. Chris is asleep with the super chat says A2HH radio coming this fall. Y'all would be hilarious hosts arguing with dudes on a live calling. Cheers. Yeah, that'd be dope.
You dudes don't want no smoke, man.
But see, my thing is like, in theory, yeah, I think it'd be dope shows and really good shows. But where would y'all listen to this at? Would y'all listen to internet radio or? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to just put it out there and ain't nobody listening to it. You know what I'm saying?
So,
or does this go in podcast format? I don't know.
Yeah, the other playlist I'm working on is actually somebody was bringing up some of Prodigy's best verses, and I was just like, you want to know what? let's just put together a list of Prodigy's best stuff because Prodigy doesn't get the love that he deserves. I thought about something. This is real head talk. This is what I mean. I said I wanted to have some head conversation today. Do you know how wild it is that in 1995, Prodigy is laying down the rods that he's laying down in 1995 and in 1996? Listen to what I'm about to say. And he's not even the best rapper in his fucking neighborhood. Yeah. You want to talk about a chip on your shoulder? Have you listened to his rhymes on The Infamous and on Hell on Earth? He's not even the best rapper in his neighborhood.
Well, Nas is around there.
Like,
but he was one of the best rappers in New York.
No, I mean, he's literally, I mean, if you go, how about this? And this is what I mean more head talk. Mike, we're from down here. You're from Atlanta. I was raised in Atlanta. I spent most of my life down here. This is the home that I always come back to even when I leave. You listen to Andrè on Southern Playalistic, and then go listen to Prodigy on The Infamous. Don't tell me that Andre's better.
Oh, no, he's not.
Than Prodigy.
No, the only conversation is when Andrè steps it up on ATLians.
So let's have that conversation right quick. And this is what I mean about how special Prodigy is.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a conversation in Southern Playalistic. Dre makes it a conversation on ATLians. That's one of the most important moments that happened for Southern MCs, actually, is because Andrè was actually the first person. It's like when you finally meet the requirements to go to their ball. Andrè on ATLians was the first Southern MC that fit the requirements to go play at the New Yorkers ball. Like, it's like, no, we have an MC who lyrically and style and voice and delivery can do the things that your best MCs can do. But even with that being said, he's not as chilling as Prodigy is. And he's still not as good in 96. He's not better than Prodigy in 96, actually. Not yet.
You know,
He doesn't have a Nighttime Vultures type of verse. He doesn't have a Hell on Earth type of verse, a Give It Up Fast, a Still Shining, Apostle's Warning. He don't. I mean, he's got the Elevators and the Babylon, and he's like there, but here's what I mean. And I say this respectfully, it's like, yo, if Andrè or Nas was in trouble, like out in the streets, I wouldn't go get them or get my people to go get them. If Prodigy was, I would, because he evokes a type of feeling. No, I'm serious. Because he evokes a type of feeling out of you. You know what I'm saying? And a relatability and a realness.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, no. That shit matters. You know? Like you tell me, it can't all be all that lyrical miracle word stuff. It's like, no, Prodigy got the lyrical miracle word stuff, but he got that street aesthetic and that realness to him too. It's like, no. I want to go smoke and chill and like chop it up with Pete. You feel me? Andrè and Nas don't give you those type of vibes in 96.
You're saying a lot. We
got Escobar and a guy wearing a turban in 96. You feel what I'm saying? Prodigy is on his rap shit in 96 still.
Darren Harris says, I think Prodigy actually outbars Nas on It's Mine and Self-Consciousness when it comes to some of their collabos.
Not on It's Mine, but here's what I will tell you. This Prodigy playlist is actually starting off with Self-Conscious to highlight how great Prodigy is because he did get Nas on Self-Conscious. That's actually how my playlist is starting. Because you need to hear how dope Prodigy is, and the best way to show you how dope Prodigy is to put him up against the best, who he's rhymed next to plenty of times. So Self-Conscious is one of his 10 best verses, probably.
I want to go back to this Andrè thing.
Go ahead.
Because, the old me would have been like, nah, never. But I understand.
Nas on Self-Conscious. See, this is what I mean. Like, y'all talking about that rhyme and stuff again. It's like, no. P making you feel, and he's saying certain things where it's like, it's different. You want to know, we don't talk about Prodigy enough the way that we talk about Beans and Scarface. How about that?
You're right.
Same thing going on. That's what I mean. Like when he say, I got you stuck off the realness, a lot of dudes been told you that they real. It never struck you like that. His voice, his tone, his approach is the one that made you really feel, I got you stuck off the realness. We be the infamous. You heard of us. Actually, we hadn't heard of you. You feel me? Yeah. But you believed them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going through these ATLian verses in my head.
Go ahead.
And I mean everything on this fire. So I see where Dumb It Down's coming from.
The Tupac diss, drop a gem on him. That's what I'm saying. flashbacks to the house you got scuffed it in. You would think that getting your headshots enough, but then now you want to go against my team. Must have been drunk when you wrote that shit. Too bad you had to did it to your own self. My rebellion, retaliate. I had the whole New York State aiming at your face off top. Man, come on, he's
We need
crazy.
to, you know what we need to do, man. We might need to have a mock versus when it
Ooh, I'm
comes
with that.
to Andre and Prodigy.
Mhm.
In 1990, what you say, 5 and 6?
I mean, we're gonna. I mean, because
So
here's the thing.
you're only able to pick verses from 5 and 6, and I'll pick Andre verses from 95 and 96.
Yeah, because you still got Benzor, Beamer, and Thought Process. You got other stuff too. Yeah,
And we'll quote these verses.
yeah,
You know, either rap them or whatever, because we know these verses like the back of our hand, and we'll let
yeah.
the people choose which verse was better, and for which scenario. So
I mean,
are we gonna go with 10 verses or 20?
um, think it's more fair to Andre to do 10 because I do have 2 full-length albums to go off of in 95 and 96 is The Infamous and The Hell on Earth. So I can give you 20 Prodigy. You're going to be harder pressed to give me the 20 Dre. We're going to have to creep into 94. But I'll let you do that.
I can do 95. I mean, because Soul Food's 95, and
But
you know
that's
what I'm
only one
saying?
Andre verse. It's an epic Andre verse. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's special. I mean, how about this? Let's do 15. Meet me in the middle.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
We can do
Yeah.
that. People are
But
saying,
I
why
tell you
so early? I got to go to a birthday party at like 7. So, we had to do a little earlier show. But everybody's kind of coming in. We got like 183 people. I know
yeah,
everybody expects us to be here at 4.
I think people start getting ready for us around 4, and so them like, hold on, these dudes is already on. Like when they come on, yeah, I'm bad.
Yeah.
Here's what I will tell you though, and
Right.
and you know this, Mike. Andre on ATLians is the guy that made us all believe that we could do it down here. Am I wrong?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So as far as we are looking at it through rose-colored glasses sometimes about Andre on ATLians because what people who are not from down here do not understand. None of us believed that we could be the greatest MC or make it like this until he rhymed the way that he rhymed on ATLians. It wasn't even Southern Playalistic. When we heard him rhyme that way on ATLians, it's like, no, hold on. I'm in too. Let's go.
Yeah, it was that last verse on Elevators, man. It really changed everything. I would say it's 2 verses from him. It's the thought process verse and then
Thought process
the
verse
elevator.
into the elevators verse.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, because the thought process verse, he stepped it up, and it was like, oh, okay.
Right. And we all believed, didn't we? And so it's important. But we have to understand that part of that feeling and that vibe is because it had never happened before. We had never had a lyricist of his caliber come around. And not just Atlanta, the South. And that's all due respect to Scarface. Scarface is a more fully imposing and all-encompassing and songwriting MC, not the bar-for-bar lyricist that Dre is.
Right.
And so hearing Dre rap on that level, it was like, no, we all believed, but we're also looking at it through rose-colored glasses because of that. That nigga Prodigy is over there murdering stuff, track after track, nighttime vultures, Mike. Like, as much as I love the verse on Elevators and how important it is, it's like when you put that verse on Elevators up against the verse on Nighttime Vultures, it's like, no.
Okay, we're gonna do that.
That's no, Mike. That's that classic, super lyrical, detail-oriented, East Coast rap shit. Mike, the verse by Raekwon on there is stupid nasty, and people oftentimes forget about it. That's how great Prodigy is on there. Like, Ray's actually telling a story on the second verse of Nighttime Vultures, and people forget it sometimes. Prodigy so chilling on Nighttime Vultures. So it's like, you don't forget Big Boy on Elevators.
I see your point, but what we need to do is we need to strip these verses down, spit them to the people, and then just kind of go from there.
The Godfather Part 3 verse, that's what I mean. Like, Prodigy's all, oh, man.
Darren Harris says, the Hell on Earth versus ATLians was a real debate in the winter of 96.
Was in November. I remember arguing about it in November of 96. It's like, yo, what's better, Hell on Earth or ATLians? It's like, I don't know. Who's better? It's like, I don't know.
I remember the whole argument was always like, who's the best duo? And Outkast, at least in my high school years, was holding that title. And this is the rapping Outkast, And then because we had some high hopes for Method Man and Redman's Blackout, and I love that album personally. But you got to understand, the Blackout came out after Kumina dropped, so it's like we couldn't. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. Outkast still got that title.
I didn't give Outkast advantage over Mobb Deep, The Tribe Called Quest, or Wu-Tang Clan until Stankonia, because I hadn't heard a fourth album from any of those groups that matched that album. So for me, it was always a neck and neck arms race with Outkast and Mobb Deep. I was more partial to Outkast because of upbringing, influence, understanding. But if we're just all things being equal, it's like, well, we have the infamous Hell on Earth and Murder Music. Well, we have Southern Playalistic, ATLiens, and Equimini. No. That's comparable stuff going on. Because the infamous and Equimini would be a comparable pairing. Hell on Earth and ATLiens, comparable pairing. Murder Music, Southern Playalistic, comparable pairing.
So you're just going to skip Juvenile Hell?
Huh?
We just going to skip Juvenile Hell.
I mean, we're going to skip Idlewild, too. Stank on. You feel me? So Stankonia for me is the tipping point, because America's Nightmare and Infamy aren't Stankonia if you even put both of them together.
Yeah. I'm partial to Cass, but I still don't really put Cass advantage over Tribe like that.
Like I said, the Stankonia, no, even with Tribe, because it's like, well, if you want to go to those first 3 albums for each, that's fine. Go listen to The Love Movement, go listen to Stankonia.
No, I got you with the albums or whatever, but when it comes to the individual songs, like Tribe did both, where it's like those Tribe songs are big and
now,
they sound really good like right now. And I don't know if it's because Cass doesn't perform anymore and they really aren't able to keep their legacy alive like that, but those songs don't age as well as the Tribe stuff does to me.
Well, actually, the same thing is true about Mobb Deep in relationship to Outkast too.
Yeah.
Like Survival of the Fittest, Give Up the Good, Shook Ones, Godfather Part 3, Hell on Earth, still like those songs have held up better than the Outkast songs. So it's actually true on both sides. But listen to what I'm saying. First of all, who taught Havoc how to do drums again?
Q.
Okay.
And Q-Tip is Dre's father.
So
it is what it is.
So part of the reason why these sounds and styles are holding up is because they're fundamentally rooted in one of the greatest hip hop producers of all time, minds, and the East Coast greatest run, music wise. Well, Q-Tip had a whole lot to do with that. Okay, yep. And so part of why Mobb Deep sounds so timeless is because it's influenced by Q-Tip. Where Q-Tip from?
Queens.
Okay, and so where Tribe from? Where Fife from? Where hip hop? You get what I'm saying? So it's hip hop oriented in a way that
Linden Boulevard.
Right. It's hip hop oriented in a way that Outkast can never be in terms of its origins, in terms of the sound, in terms of what you hear, in terms of what you like. So it's probably going to carry longer, Mike.
LP says Back to Business is the best 4th album by a group. Yeah, shout out to EPMD. EPMD's catalog is crazy. And you know what? I think that you and I sometimes leave EPMD out of these discussions because they were slightly before our time. And we didn't really live it like that, right? Because Eric Sermon wasn't in our producer discussion. And you didn't even have an EPMD album on your top 100.
No, I've been scolded about that.
Yeah, I think the first album definitely deserves to be.
What's that? Strictly Business?
Yeah, Strictly Business got banged.
Yeah, no. That's fair. But like I said, I'm not perfect. I keep on trying to say this. You go make a list of the greatest 100 rap albums of all time in 24 hours. You let me know how it goes for you.
It's difficult.
I'll take all the smoke, but you go do it, and then you let me go critique your stuff. Because what you're going to find is if you actually, have a daughter, have a life, have a job, you know what I'm saying? You feel me? It's not like I literally do this just all the time. I probably spent about 5 hours working on that list. Most of that was spent thinking of song titles and then trying to arrange and structure them. Yeah. Things fall through the cracks of your mind. I'm not perfect. I'm also
that stuff is real time consuming, and we are working on being able to do this full time. LP says jazz-based beats have more longevity than electro. This is the thing. I mean, because I guess you could look at Parliament Funkadelic, and I don't even think that Cass is more quote unquote electro. But I will say on Southern Playlistic, a lot of the stuff was rooted in horns and bass guitar, right? And
Yes.
I think that Southern Playlistic has aged better than most of their catalog, in my personal opinion.
I've always said it was their second best album.
It is their second best album.
And if you want to talk about relationship to how all the albums sound-wise have held up, it sounds the best. And I'm going to tell you why. It's the one that's most rooted in the fundamentals of hip-hop, because that album is inspired by guys like who? Q-Tip, Tribe, Hieroglyphic. It's more hip-hop based and oriented. Even with the live instrumentation, it's going to hold up better than the experimental.
I think Dre too. I think Dr. Dre's production had some, influence on how Southern Playalistic sounded musically. Some of the stuff that they were doing on the West Coast G-Funk wise.
It sounds like some rap shit though, Mike. That's what I'm saying. Well, it's the M.I. Crooked Letter coming around the South, rolling straight hammers and bows in that old Southern South. Please, ain't another instance in my atmosphere. I'm running corners in my lax. Why?
That's how we be rolling
here. No, that's rap shit. That's Southern rap shit.
Man, I was looking at Tribe's documentary yesterday, and I was just thinking like, yo, they had such an advantage just growing up in New York at that time with the block parties, and you got all kind of music being played. You have access to so much music and so many, and just seeing hip hop in its origins and the energy from Jump Street. Like they saw that as kids. I think Q-Tip had an older sister who would take him to the block parties and stuff like that. And it's like, yo, man, that's so dope. Hold on one second. We see I got a breaking news super chat here. My man Swain says, Mike D, M and Snoop, M and CeeLo are both bad songs. Oh my God. Reggie says, breaking news, Jack Harlow and Eminem are forming a venture capital group to buy A2HH. We also heard Jack Harlow hung Coop out a one-story window during the negotiation. Allegedly. Breaking news. All right, so, but yeah, the Tribe documentary, like you said, they're rooted in this, and they saw everything from its origins. They come from a block away from where, Run DMC comes from, and just musically being there. And
think about it. Okay, so
you're not getting it secondhand. You know what I'm saying?
Here's what you have to understand. They're around, so it's like, remember I was telling, like, how Nas is running into the early Rakim and G-Rap sessions behind Large Professor. Who's one of Large Professor's best friends around that time? Q-Tip. They're running around together. Like, all that stuff that Nas seen, Q-Tip was actually there live, living it before. Like Nas is the kid in this story. Q-Tip's a grown man seeing the same things that Nas has seen. And helping contribute to it. And listen, he's hearing Run DMC's albums get made. Rakim's albums get made. Cool G-Rap. Main Source. Pete Rock and CL Smooth. You feel what I'm saying? He's around all of this. He's around all of this as a young man, not a teenager, but as a young man. No, like super important. Like
I want to say they dropped People's Instinctive on his 19th birthday or something, on Q-Tip's 19th birthday. So he's not only making this album as damn near a soloist. I mean, respect to Fife, and Fife even said in the documentary, he just was out here, in the street doing young shit or whatever. But he had like 4 verses on there.
He said it on the album. I only had 3 verses. I think it's
And so Q-Tip not only basically damn near a solo album at 18, but produced it too.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Because, at least with Cass, they had Organized Noise, or incredible production collective, and they did an incredible job of producing Southern Playlistic and molding Cass too.
Think about it. I mean, you're talking about Queens. So let's say Q-Tip is a 19-year-old in Queens in what, 1989?
No, 1990.
1990. Okay, so in 1990, if you're a 19-year-old in Queens and you're getting a record deal, you're hearing, and you're right around LL Cool J, Run DMC. Rakim is recording out of Queens because of a relationship with Marley Marl, Large Pro, Paul C.
Yeah.
Coop Rap. Beastie. Like, you're around a lot.
Yeah.
You're a lot, and you're making dope shit yourself, improving yourself too. Because you have to understand, when he's coming around with People's Instinctive, he's the young dude on the block now. Those dudes were a little older then. Like, Cool G Rap and Rakim are 19, and they were 19 a few years ago.
And then when it came to Low End Theory, he's like, man, we got to bump it up to the next level. Phife, I need you here.
Yeah.
And then they did it.
Like, so you remember Andre's verse on Two Dope Boys in a Cadillac?
Yeah.
So he speaks to that. A lot of people around the time when I was in Charlotte thought that was a Nas shot when he said, I grew up to myself, not round no park bitch. These niggas busting flows off up in apartments. Like, a lot of people thought he was talking about because how's the Illmatic scenery go? Nas sitting on the park bench, right? He's saying, like, no, we didn't grow up like that in the South. Like, I didn't have that type of advantage of growing up around those park bench jams. Like,
being around these ciphers.
Right. I didn't grow up like that. We don't rap like that. But I got you. I'm going to try to rap like how you rap. And that's what ATL is, and you hear it on the beginning. Like that. Because he's letting you know, I grew up to myself, not round no park bench. As in, like, these thoughts and these rhymes and these schemes that you're hearing where I didn't grow up oriented in it like you do. So I just have to go off what I hear in my own head.
I never really took it like that, but that's dope. I thought it was because somebody just tried to challenge him to a battle. So
no, that's what
I ain't for that fuck shit. So fuck this.
But he's talking about the mentality of it. I grew up to myself, not round no park bench. Like, I ain't no Busta freestyle in the crowd off the beat with the we didn't grow up like that, fam.
Never seen an Andrè freestyle for real like that.
Right.
Yeah. LP with the super chat says, Tip did that off the Tip did that off the pause tape before the SP 1200. Large is credited as teaching Tip, Rock, and Primo how to use the SP, how to layer samples and such. Yeah, I mean, the fact that he was just doing this off of just the pause tape is crazy.
Playback, cut, playback.
This is how they made People's Instinctive. It's incredible, man. Like, when you think of the ingenuity
hold on, stop right there.
Of somebody like that, man. Like, living legend.
Yeah.
Living legend. And again, as much as I love Southern Playalistic, there was a lot involved in that. Like, there was a lot of instrumentation. There was a lot of moving parts, moving pieces. Tribe didn't have all that. It was Q-Tip producing this.
But let's focus on what LP's saying on his super chat, though, because this goes to your environment. Mm-hmm. Tip did that off of Paul's tapes before the SP 1200. But he's in Queens. You know who else is in Queens? Large Professor.
Yeah.
See, when you're in that environment and you don't know something, you see how close the help is?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's not going on with Outkast. That's why their type of hip-hop sounds succinctly different. I
think Organized had, a collective, and they had collective help. I think what it was like you said, everybody in New York was kind of holding their own and kind of collaborating in that way, whereas down here, it's like, you know what? You produce, I produce, and he produces. Let's just make organized noise as opposed to us being, individuals out here.
No, I mean, that's one of those things because you don't have much of a choice down here at those times.
You're better together.
Like it wasn't, hold on, let's not get this twisted. Like, where Organized Noise and the Dungeon Family is really, like, the most intelligent camp that ever came out of Atlanta is just because they just very, very clearly understood the circumstances that they were against. And it's like, no. Better if we all get in together because that's the best way for us to get in.
I mean, because Goody Mob pretty much, Gip was a solo act, CeeLo was a solo act, and the Lumberjacks was a duo, Cujo and Timo. But they were like, no, we need to pull this thing together and be Goody Mob.
Yeah.
Man with the super chat says Eric Sermon was responsible for some of the sounds of the East Coast in the 90s. He produced for the West Coast and the South acts. Also R&B and pop, highly underrated. Yeah, the bass that he provided was crazy.
No, he's been underrated and understated as a beat maker. He is the executive producer of Muddy Waters. And the album.
Yeah. He's Redman's main guy when it comes to production. So
El Nino, the Death Squad album, It's an excellently produced album.